Today, I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm gonna rank all 54 countries in Africa in order, starting from my favorite all the way down to my least favorite. Hey. You guys are about to hear all of the ups, the downs, and everything in between as I share crazy stories, travel tips,
not bad for $2 a night,
and tons of practical advice if you are planning on coming to Africa. My list will surprise you. There's over 200 pyramids out here. It's just fascinating. It will shock you. What the hell is going on? This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. And it might make you even book a flight out here to experience the adrenaline rush for yourself. This is the reason why I travel. All right, let's begin with the country that I just arrived in and my #1 overall pick in Africa, Tanzania. Welcome to Tanzania! I'm currently on my 4th trip to Tanzania and I cannot get enough of this place. Right now I'm chilling with the Hadzabe tribe. Somewhere in the northern central part of the country. They're the coolest people ever. They're just welcoming us in. They just hunted baboon. This is insane, dude. They're literally sprinting through the bush. And they cooked it around the fire, and these people, they're like hunter-gatherers. The baboon heads are finished, and he is now just eating it. It's amazing. It's so cool to be able to experience this in a place like Tanzania. This country's huge, and it really has everything. You have the Serengeti National Park. We're driving through the Serengeti now, and we have an unbelievable sighting of zebra and wildebeest. The migration is taking place right now, and there are literally tens of thousands within our eyesight, and it's so beautiful to see. You have the Ngorongoro crater. I've never seen a crater in my life that's this big. I mean, it goes on forever. Look. That's all inside the crater. You can see all the big game animals, rhinos, leopards, cheetahs, hyenas, elephants, buffalo, crocodile, literally everything. Of course, you have Mount Kilimanjaro, which is the tallest freestanding mountain in the world. Man, the light is so perfect right now. I just want to take a moment and appreciate this experience. You have Zanzibar, which is some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. This water is so clear. So the tide is going down as we're walking and all the tops of the rocks are popping out of the water. Never seen anything like it before. My favorite place in Tanzania is Arusha. It's a city not far from here. There's also a town called Moshi. For being such a small town, this place is lively, man. There's a lot going on here. You have Lake Victoria, which is one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. I'm telling you guys, if you can only visit one country in Africa, let it be Tanzania. People are friendly.
We're happy to see people come and visit us.
It's safe, the streets are clean, there's no scams here, everyone's super nice, they speak English. You will absolutely love it. Country #2 is Ethiopia. I have been there 9 times. I'm obsessed with this country. It's right in East Africa. It has so many amazing cultures. There's so many cool nature spots. You're driving through the clouds right now. It's super mystical. It's really cool. We got some waterfalls right here. The capital of Addis Ababa is a pretty cool place, but once you go out of town, you find even more fascinating areas like Dire Dawa in the east. We're about to enter the old city of Harar, a UNESCO site, which is very Somali culture. It's where I met the hyena men. It's crazy we are surrounded by wild hyenas right now. He keeps calling them in by this whistle sound. You have Lalibela, which is an amazing ancient Christian rock formation. Speaking of religion, Ethiopia is split between Islam and Christian, and they have a really interesting branch of Christianity, and it's really unique in Ethiopia, just the way that the rock sculptures are and the paintings that you'll find in the north, which is what I did when I hiked up there. So right now I'm in Tigray in northern Ethiopia, and I'm doing this amazing hike to the churches here, the very Christian churches that are carved into the mountain, and you can see these incredible paintings. You also have the town of Gondar, which has a big Jewish population. Surprisingly, there are a lot of Jews in Ethiopia, and I really enjoyed the story that I made up there.
Jewish making like this one, Star of David. Here before inside, Torah.
This is a synagogue.
Yeah, it's a synagogue, but before here putting Torah.
And of course you have the Omo Valley in southwestern Ethiopia, where you can find some of the most incredible tribes in the world with fascinating traditions. What the hell is going on? This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. Ethiopia has the best food in Africa. They have this thing called injera, which is kind of like a substitute for bread. It's made from the teff seed, which only grows in Ethiopia. And it's like a circle thing that you put on a plate, and you put shiro, which is a local thing, and all other vegetables and spices on it, and you just rip a piece of it and eat it. It's so good. There's nothing else like it in the world. The best cuisine in Africa. Coffee originated in Ethiopia. The best coffee in the world is there. I can go on and on and on about Ethiopia, but I have to get to country #3, Namibia.
Welcome to Namibia!
Namibia is the second least densely populated country in the world behind only Mongolia, which means there's just vast nature that goes on forever. It's one of the only places in the world that you can find beautiful sand dunes that intersect exactly with the ocean. Now I can finally see why everyone always falls in love with Namibia. This place is as good as it gets. I have this incredible drone shot where you can see sand dunes on one side and a beautiful ocean on the other side. You have ETHIOPIA National Park. It's a beautiful place where you can see all the big 5 animals. Windhoek is a cool capital city. You have a place called Swakopmund in the west, which is really German influence because at one point in time, German, yes, they did colonize part of Africa. Very few places they had an influence in Namibia, which means Namibia has great beer to this day. The people are just so lovely and so friendly. They speak great English.
So this little piece in my hand, this is a symbol of a quartz stone.
Biltong is there, which in America we would say beef jerky, but if you say that to them, they would get offended. It's really, really tasty dried beef or dried animals. Oh yeah. You have this place called Sousisvlei, which is incredible nature with these like trees in the sand dunes. I mean, they're like towering sand dunes that you can walk up and down. And of course, you have the Himba tribe near the Angola border in Namibia. They have the clay hair and they're just so cool. I really love visiting the tribes in Africa. It's so enriching and so amazing to appreciate their cultures and traditions. Namibia is a great road trip country. I spent 12 days road tripping it, and I recommend you to do the same if you ever make it down there. That was an absolutely amazing, bizarre experience. This is the reason why I travel. Country number 4 is Malawi.
Welcome to Malawi. This is a good country.
Perhaps an unpopular opinion, because not many people go to Malawi, but the few that do will tell you that they are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So we got a crew. Big smiles on their faces, always happy to host you, happy to help you. Lake Malawi happens to be one of the most beautiful lakes in the world. I camped overnight there. I remember just playing football in the park with these kids. And it's just such an amazing, peaceful country. Lilongwe is the capital, not much happening there. But really, my favorite thing about Malawi was the people. I met this guy named Shifundu, who has passed away, RIP Shifundu. But since 1987, he built this underground hotel in the middle of nowhere, which I actually slept at. So this is the entrance to the hotel. And then it just keeps going down and down. He built it underground himself? Yeah. Oh, it just keeps going.
Not bad for $2 a night.
I thought that was a really cool story, and the people are super resilient there. They may not have many materialistic things, but they have so much love and happiness, and that is really what always makes me smile about Malawi. Country number 5 is Kenya. I'm actually out here now with the Maasai tribe. As you can see, their beautiful outfits here. The kids are playing football as the sun goes down, and we just drank blood from the goat, which is a very normal tradition here for the Maasai people. Incredible experience out here. But I want to talk about Kenya right now because the Maasai people are also in Kenya, which is an amazing reason to visit the country. There's so many tribes, so much beauty. You have the Masai Mara National Park, which is one of the best national parks in the entire world. It's actually connected to the Serengeti. The only difference is the border between Kenya and Tanzania that separates it. You have plenty of other national parks to visit. You have Nakuru and Kisumu, which are cool cities in the west. You have Lake Victoria. We have plenty of freshwater fish to eat. Very friendly people. Most of them speak English. What's your name?
Tony.
How old are you, Tony?
11.
Nairobi is a bustling, amazing capital city. It's probably one of my top 3 favorite cities in all of Africa. So we just got bananas on the side of the road and we started driving away, and he chased us down to make sure we had all of our bananas. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, man.
You haven't really been to Kenya until
you ride a matatu. Woo! Damn, shit's crazy. Holy crap, my ears are bleeding. If you want beach, you have Lamu Island. You have Mombasa, which are incredible options for pristine beaches in East Africa. And there's so much love about Kenya, and it's just one of the best countries in the entire world to visit. How are you?
Welcome, my friend.
Nice to meet you. Country number 6, Algeria.
Welcome to Algeria!
The largest country in Africa, located in northern Africa. So you have a mix of French, Arabic, English, all kinds of languages, all kinds of looks. You have really white Algerians, you have really dark Algerians, you have brown Algerians. They're super friendly, very hospitable, super welcoming. Nice to meet you. Shukran, merci. Bonjour. Bonjour. In the south, you have the Tuareg people, or the blue people that kind of wear things like I'm wearing now, but they're desert warriors. Algiers is a lovely capital city. This is probably the best place where you can get the whole view of the entire city. It is beautiful. Earlier today, we went up to that Martyrs Monument. This place is just about as good as it gets. It's a historic city. You have something called the Kasbah, which is beautiful old architecture and like ancient feels, historical places. It's really a lovely, lovely city, and it's really safe to walk around, which is also something to note if you're going as a solo traveler. And then you have a city city called Constantine, which is known as the Venice of Africa. There's so many bridges and it's beautiful. I had a wonderful tour guide there. Her name was Love.
Welcome to Constantine.
Can never forget Love. She was great. And then Oran is another really cool city that I went to. There's Roman ruins called Timgad, which is unbelievable. You'd have to see it to believe it.
Behind, it's a pagan temple which was built in 229 AD. The jail?
There's a jail?
Yeah.
And this is just the main road?
Yeah, the main road leads from the north to the south.
Guys, put this country on your list. There's a lot to see, a lot to do, and God, I'm at a loss for words. I'm just stunned. If this existed in Italy, you'd have to pay a big fee and you have to wait in line forever, but in Algeria, there's nobody around and it's beautiful and everyone's super friendly. Algeria is truly incredible and I'm gonna be visiting again soon to a place called Tindouf, where I'm gonna cross the border into Western Sahara. Stay tuned for that. Country number 7, Zimbabwe. This place is insanely gorgeous. In Southern Africa, English speaking, you'll find very beautiful faces, beautiful people. The country has gone through some hard times, economically, politically. It had one of the worst inflations in history. It was like a trash bag full of money to buy a loaf of bread, similar to Germany during the World Wars.
So this 100 trillion is worth about $100 street value.
You have Victoria Falls, which is on the border of Zambia, one of the most beautiful waterfalls in the entire world. You have Hwange National Park, which has a bunch of elephants, which is amazing. They have delicious food in Zimbabwe. I actually visited a really cool tribe in the eastern part. There's a two-toed tribe, which was fascinating. We drove 2 days on dirt roads to find them, and it was a lovely experience out there. As I always say, you can never have a bad time in Zimbabwe, formerly known as Rhodesia. Fun fact. There's also a beautiful national park called Manapools in the north, where I actually drove through and saw a bunch of elephant, zebra, lion. Fantastic.
Oh my God!
Oh look, he's yawning. I got the yawn.
I saw the yawn. It's so cool. Oh my God.
Country number 8, South Africa. A place that many of you guys have probably been if you have been to Africa. It's very well known. It's the whole southern part of the continent. English speaking, although all South Africans speak like 4, 5, 6 languages, at least the ones that I've met. I will say safety is a concern in South Africa. It is not the safest place in the world at all. I've actually had friends that have been robbed. These bandits are like on the freeways and they'll put fake duct tape and pull your car over and demand you for money. It happened to a buddy of mine, and 2 people I know had a knife pulled on them around Johannesburg. So maybe stay away from Johannesburg. But Cape Town is fantastic. There's wineries, there's golf, there's penguins.
So amazing.
There's so many safaris. Kruger National Park looks something like this. Durban is another city with a lot of Indian influence, so you'll find some of the best curries in the world out there. Just gotta love South African people. They're so friendly. It's the home of biltong. We already talked about it, but South Africans take pride in it and it's super tasty.
That is so good, man.
All kinds of meats are delicious, fresh vegetation, and really, really, really world-renowned wine. You can't get better than South Africa. Country number 9, Uganda. A beautiful place in East Africa, English speaking. My favorite story that I told in Uganda was visiting Mama Uganda. She has 44 kids. Yeah, she really gave birth to 44 kids in sets of twins, triplets, quintuplets. She was super friendly. It shows the hospitality of Ugandan people. Uganda is the best place to see chimpanzees who are so similar to humans. It's wild. You also have mountain gorillas, which I highly, highly, highly recommend. It's one of the best experiences to have anywhere in the world. You can do it in Uganda, Rwanda, or the Congo, which we'll get to later on. And on that note, keep watching this video because I'm gonna be changing locations based on the countries that I love the most. Back to Uganda, the capital city, Kampala, is crazy. It's so much traffic, it's so much bustling things happening. It's not my favorite place in the world, but everywhere else in Uganda, I have found to be amazing. Small villages, Queen Elizabeth National Park if you wanna see some wildlife. And yeah, Uganda, I love you. Country number 10, Eritrea. Yes, that is a 100-year-old abandoned Italian gas station behind me called Fiat. It's one of the most iconic buildings I've ever seen in my life. I'm here in the capital city of Asmara. Beautiful place. It's like 5,000 feet high in elevation, so it's actually quite chilly. I'm here in the wintertime. People are really nice. It's a very different place because of crazy political situation here. Basically, there's like no Wi-Fi here. Everything feels like the 1950s, kind of like in Cuba.
That's awesome.
What year is it?
1963, 56 years old.
Diana? Everyone's going to vintage coffee shops because it was an Italian colony, drinking old school macchiatos, eating pizza. It's one of the coolest countries in the world. And as someone who's been to every country, I always try to find places that are unique, that are mysterious, that make you think. And Eritrea ticks all those boxes. The country actually gained independence on the day I was born, May 24th, 1991, which is super interesting. They gained independence from Ethiopia. Both countries are kind of similar culturally. I just feel really happy here. I feel really myself. The food is amazing. It's similar to Ethiopian food. You know, injera, all those delicious tastes. You have an old port city called Massawa on the Red Sea. It's totally different climate from here. It's one of the hottest places I've ever been. It was like 120 degrees Fahrenheit when I was there last time. But it's now like an old abandoned town with like broken buildings like from the war. Super interesting. Believe it or not, Eritrea has archipelagos with beautiful diving spots and beaches. And it's just a really hidden vintage place on the Horn of Africa. And I'm so happy to be here right now. There's a town called Karen, which is about 100 kilometers north of here, where I'm going to be heading tomorrow. And I'll actually be continuing the next 9 African countries that I'm ranking from Karen. And they have this amazing market, which only exists on Monday, which is tomorrow. Country number 11, Botswana. I'm coming to you live from a little village on the way from Asmara to Karen. This is beautiful. But Botswana is fantastic. I've been 3 times. I just recently went with my parents.
Oh my god, she's so big!
And my wife on a safari in Chobe Game Reserve. It was fantastic. So many elephants, so many zebras, the whole big 5. Botswana also has the Okavango Delta, which is known as one of the best safaris in the world. I haven't done it yet. The people in Botswana are lovely. Many of them speak really great English because of close proximity to South Africa, because of a lot of British influence over the years. It's just one of those countries that's super safe, super charming, and a great road trip country. The landscape changes drastically from east to west, north to south. It's a pretty big country if you look at the map. There's also a place called Sodilo Hills, if I pronounced it right, which are beautiful rock paintings that you have to see to believe it. My first time to Botswana, I went to Tuli Game Reserve, just over the border of South Africa. Botswana is an incredible safari country, and I actually slept 3 nights out in the bush. I slept in little tents. I'm here in my tent right now, but we're just here in the bush, in the wilderness. There's no fences. So the elephants might wake me up in the morning. I also heard that there are like salt flats in Botswana, which I have not been to yet, but it is definitely high on my list. Botswana is as good as it gets. The food is great, pretty affordable, and I can't wait to be back there. Country number 12, Zambia. Also in Southern Africa. Zambia is fantastic. My first time there was a town called Livingston, which is just over the border of Victoria Falls. The waterfalls actually separates the 2 countries. I actually attended a funeral there, which was really fascinating. I learned a lot about the Zambian culture, and I realized right away that people are super friendly. Even in a dark setting like a funeral, everybody was still kind of smiling and drinking beer, and I've never experienced anything like that anywhere in the world. Is it good?
Seeing some animals.
Then I took Deanna as part of our honeymoon to Zambia. We flew into Lusaka. We met our friends who are from there, and they took us up to Lake Kariba. We are cruising on Lake Kariba in between Zambia and Zimbabwe. It's amazing. Look at this. There's one of the biggest dams in the world out there. There's like hippopotamus, there's crocodiles, all kinds of game, which is fantastic. There's also canoe trips that you can take in the Lower Zambezi National Park. Zambians are just chill. It's like you don't feel any danger there, no hostility. Everyone is just like chilling. And when I say chilling, I mean like there's so many bars and people are just sitting outside drinking beer and just like smiling with their friends. That's why I like Zambia. Wow. They're very welcoming people. I want to go back and do more safari stuff. But as far as like culture and hospitality goes, Zambia is one of the best in Africa. I've made it to Karen. I'm getting my shoe shine here on the side of the road. While I'm getting a lovely shoe shine, I'm gonna tell you about country number 13, Senegal.
It's a great place. The people are very peaceful. It's a beautiful country.
Senegal is in West Africa. It's a French-speaking nation. It's actually really cool. There's a lot of really good restaurants, bars, cafes. People are really nice. It's a bustling city, Dakar. There's a lot going on. We're walking around the market now, trying to find some things to buy. It's very colorful, very lively, just like any other market in the world. There's an island called Gore Island, which is really interesting history for the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. And it's actually really sad and humbling to go there and see what these innocent people had to go through, the misery. It's actually really emotional to be there. But on a happier note, there's a pink lake in Senegal, which is literally a pink lake. It's not like people are photoshopping it for the Instagram. It's actually really vibrantly pink when you go there, and it's really cool. There's a city with a lot of French colonial influence called St. Louis, if I pronounce it right, down the coast, and I think it's actually pretty cool to check out. I drove through it, I passed by for a few hours. Food in Senegal is really good. Side note, this guy's doing a really excellent job on my shoes. They're super clean. Anyways, you can't go wrong with Senegal. It's a good entry point into West Africa because a lot of the neighboring countries are a lot rougher to travel through. Give Senegal a chance and I think you'll enjoy it. And try to learn a few French words while you're at it because English is not really commonly spoken there. Country number 14 is Mauritius.
Bienvenue à Maurice.
A beautiful little island nation off the southeastern coast of Africa. People are friendly, they speak English.
Thank you so much.
Fun fact, it's the only Hindu majority country in all of Africa. Most of them came from mainland India over the years, which means you can find excellent Indian food. There's good golf out there, there's waterfalls. We are here at the Chemarel waterfall. It is absolutely stunning. Look at that. Super tall and narrow, just going all the way down into the valley. There's hiking, it's a very excellent spot for nature, pristine beaches.
So right now we're in an underwater scooter in the Sea of Mauritius, and look around us.
It's a little more expensive because it's a touristy island. There's non-stop flights from Dubai and Doha, so I do recommend checking it out if you like beaches. It's near the Seychelles too, so you can probably kill two birds with one stone. There's a black river there with a beautiful gorge and there's hiking. I spent 9 days in Mauritius with my wife, Deanna. We had a really, really great time. Nice resorts.
All right, let's see our room.
It's so amazing. Look.
Look at this view.
Bustling capital city with markets, friendly people, very safe. It's just an excellent tourist destination that you could easily spend a week there and just enjoy life in paradise. Finish. Okay, finish. All right, bye-bye. With my clean shoes, I'm now gonna tell you about country number 15, Rwanda.
Welcome to Rwanda.
Rwanda is similar to Israel in the sense that it's really, really tightly controlled, like with drones, with anything, like with laws, partially because 25 years ago in my lifetime, they went through one of the most brutal civil wars in the history of the world. Around a third of the population was killed within 3 months. I'll never forget my tour guide telling me that they were just covered with banana leaves on the side of the road. It's really sad. There's a genocide museum in Rwanda. I do recommend checking it out. But the country has really rebuilt itself to what it is today.
The life is good. We're enjoying the life.
It's clean, it's safe. I mean, when I say clean, I mean like Singapore clean. It's one of the cleanest countries in the world. I think once a month or twice a month, all the local people in the country go out on the streets and clean it like a collective effort, which is really nice. Right now we are walking through a beautiful eco park in Kigali. It is super green. You can see everywhere around me. You can see everything is perfectly clean. The walkways are clean. Everywhere you go, you'll see trash cans here for people to throw things away. Funny, when you go to other countries, you just don't see trash cans on the street so openly, but here, everywhere. Everybody speaks English. Of course, they also speak Swahili and tribal languages, but it's really easy to get around with English. You could do the mountain gorillas in Rwanda, which I highly recommend. Fantastic experience. It's most expensive in Rwanda compared to Uganda and the DRC, but Rwanda is a fantastic place to do it. There's a place called Nyungwe Forest. I definitely butchered the name, but there's a canopy, there's like a wildlife trek you can do. A lot of biodiversity, birds. It's a beautiful, clean place to visit. And also Lake Kivu. There's beaches there, you can take boat trips. Freshwater fish is excellent. I just love going to Rwanda. It's like my safe zone. It's my safe haven. When I'm maybe going through a rough stretch of travels through Africa, I always try to fly to Kigali, which is the capital, and just hang out for a few days. I have a good friend there named Obed, who's from Rwanda. He always takes me around when I visit East Africa. Just driving through the country is beautiful. You see like hills, forests, a lot of lush greenery, and that really red color road. You can't go wrong with Rwanda. It's a little more expensive than elsewhere on the continent, but it's for good reason. It's safe there, and I think you'll have a great time if you ever visit. Number 16, Sudan. Not to be confused with South Sudan. This is the northern counterpart, which was the biggest country in the world at one point until they broke away in 2 countries, and now it is Algeria. Anyways, Sudan is awesome. I spent several days there with my local friend Mazen, who's a great guy, another creator. First of all, there's pyramids in Sudan that are older and much more interesting than the ones in Egypt. They're called the pyramids of Meroe. I'm taking a camel ride from one end of the pyramids to the other. There's over 200 pyramids out here. It's just fascinating. The coolest part about the pyramids of Meroe is that there's nobody else there. Like when I showed up, there was a little dude that was sleeping next to the gate, and he opened up the gate and he let us in. Like it was nobody there. We could have camped there. I flew my drone there. Like there's no restrictions, and that was awesome. Khartoum is the capital city. It's one of the hottest places I've ever been, and there's a lot of dust in the road, but I actually found it really interesting. Even though it was hot, there's all these ladies selling tea on the side of the road, like camped under the trees, and they're super sweet. They're like, I don't know how to explain it. They're just the tea ladies of Sudan. I loved it. This lady behind me, I've been watching her for like the last 20 minutes make tea and coffee. She's just an expert. She knows exactly what she's doing. Clearly, she's done this many times before, and I'm really excited to try the tea very soon. It's actually pretty modern in Khartoum, right along the Nile River. There's a lot of cool buildings, places to go out. Well, not really to drink because it's a pretty strict country. If it's not a dry country, it's close to a dry country because you can't really find liquor anywhere.
Everybody worried about my hair, but nobody cares about me.
Unfortunately, Sudan has gone through some really rough times in the last few years with civil war, with political unrest, instability, there's bombings, there's kidnappings. It's a terrible situation in Sudan. And you know, a decade ago was Darfur, if you guys know what was going on out there. I just feel really bad for the innocent people there who want nothing more than peace. You have a beautiful Red Sea coast in Sudan. There's a town called Port Sudan, which I haven't visited, but I know it's amazing because all the Red Sea areas are fantastic. The fishing, the scuba diving, the beaches are second to none. And some of my favorite culture in all of Africa is in Sudan. It's called the Nubian culture. It's in the northern part of Sudan and also in southern Egypt. The men wear these big white headscarves and they play these traditional instruments and they live in these little huts with crocodiles as pets. I'm not kidding you, they literally have crocodile pets. Yeah, I could go on and on about Sudan. It's a great place. I will definitely be back there when the situation calms down. And interestingly enough, Sudan is like a 5-hour drive from where I am right now in Keren, Eritrea. So that's a cool thing. I hope to be back there someday soon. It's so cool. Country number 17 is Egypt. The country that everybody knows, and for good reason. It's one of the most historical places in the world. Yes, the pyramids of Egypt are insane. Like, you get the goosebumps when you're there. You can't believe that they're real. God, this place is just so surreal. I absolutely love it here. The humans built them, aliens built them, I don't care who built them. They're there and they're amazing. I'm not a museum guy, but all the museums in Egypt are fantastic. The archaeological ruins that are thousands and thousands of years old. It's like, I'm like a kid in a candy shop when I'm there. The Nile River is beautiful in Cairo. It's a bustling city. I compare it to places in India. There's a lot of traffic, there's a lot going on. But I hated it my first time and I wrote a blog post about how much I hated it in Cairo, which got a lot of heat for good reason. But now I've been 7 times and I actually really like Cairo. I love the chaos, it's bustling. I like to feel like I'm on a different planet. There's tuk-tuks, honking horns. A lot of people drinking chai, smoking hookah, eating food, which is these beans that are delicious. The bread is good, the hummus and the falafel and the shawarma. Oh man. There's a town called Alexandria in the northern part of Egypt on the Mediterranean coast, which is beautiful. The city of Alexandria just has a much more chill vibe than Cairo. As far as all the cities on the coast of the Mediterranean, Alexandria is the biggest one. It has incredible history. It's just really a wonderful place. There's an oasis in the west called Siwa. You have a place called Abu Simbel in the south, which is this incredible temple. And you have Cleopatra's temple somewhere else in Egypt that I've been. Luxor and Aswan are amazing. They're just cities along the Nile. Sinai Peninsula is fantastic. There's a town called St. Catherine. There's a place called Dahab. I mean, I've traveled Egypt extensively and I will always be going back. We're here in the Karnak Temple in Luxor, Egypt. This place is like a maze. It's huge. There's nobody around. We're the only tourists here. Massive structures, hieroglyphics everywhere. I've never felt so small and insignificant in my life. I even went to a town recently called Al-Guna, which is on the Red Sea. I was there with my wife and her mom, and man, it's like a total paradise. White sanded beaches, golf courses. As much as I hate the government and the officials of Egypt that can't stand my filming and they questioned me and they actually confiscated my brand new drone at the airport and I was so pissed. Literally sitting here for 2 hours. We talked to like 8 different people and I just really hope to get the drone back because I just bought it. It makes up for it with the culture, with the people, with the food, with the history. And Egypt, what a place. Country number 18, Ghana. I'm gonna tell you about Ghana as I stand in front of this epic old school cinema here in Keren. I mean, what? Look at this place. Ghana is a great country. It should be the gateway to West Africa, both Ghana and Senegal. But people in Ghana speak English perfectly.
You want to be your friend?
Oh, we want to be your friend too. Yes. They're friendly, they're outgoing, they're smart, they're good business people. There's a great coast in Ghana. Accra is a nice capital city. But if you go north, there's a town called Kumasi. There's also a town called Wa. These are all really interesting places when you go north in Ghana. I've been to mosques all over the world and I've never seen one that looks this architecture. Elephant safari in Mole National Park, which was really cool. I was with my buddy Wodamaya, who's another YouTuber from Ghana. He's a pretty popular dude and he's a funny guy. Wodamaya! If you go to Cape Coast Castle, there's more slave trade history, which is really interesting and sad to check out, but definitely one of those things that I highly recommend doing. It's like going to Auschwitz in Poland. Like it sucks to go there and it's super sad, but it's part of history and it's something that we should all be more educated about. People in Ghana are really colorful, like the women's jewelry and their scarves, and the men, they're like cool and hip. It's a really cool mix of like traditional with tribe stuff and then really modern and really like fancy as well. That's Ghana in a nutshell. Ghana is full of bustling markets in Accra, but also in other cities. There's so many people to meet and so many things to do. And even though it's super busy, I do find it to be pretty safe. Everywhere in Ghana, people are respectful. They look after you. They look after each other. How friendly all of these kids are. They're so curious. They just kind of to like walk around. They're smiling. It's so amazing. Food is good. I did get food poisoning in Ghana, but that doesn't mean the food's not good. It's just part of the experience. It's really just a great country that I highly, highly recommend visiting. I really don't want to leave this place. It's tough. Number 19, Mauritania. Situated between West Africa and the Sahel region or the Sahara region. Mauritania is fascinating. It's really, really rich in culture. The men wear these white thobes and these blue thobes. It's where I took the iron ore train, which is probably the most epic adventure of my entire life. I basically hopped on a train which is both the longest and the heaviest train in the world, and it's not a passenger train, it's just covered in iron ore, which is this little, looks like black dirt that's used for like mining and steel. But my buddy Thomas and I hopped on it and we rode it and it was absolutely insane. 20 hours across the Sahara all the way to a town called Nouadhibou. Watching the sunrise cutting through Mauritania was fantastic. The culture is real. You like sit on the floor, you eat with your hands. This is as good as it gets. People are really respectful. I was with my friend Xavier on my first trip, whose dad used to be the former prime minister of Mauritania, so we had a great time. And the second time is when I did the iron ore train. Nouakchott is the capital city. It's dusty, crazy. There's a huge fish market because fishing is a huge industry there. They eat a lot of camel meats. The camel market's also interesting. I bought a camel in Mauritania. So we have a deal? Yeah. Shukran Habibi. And I donated it to a village, which is one of my best travel moments. And ironically, earlier today I was at the camel market in Karen, which is actually kind of similar to it. Mauritania is not a place I recommend, you know, the beginner travelers, but if you want something a little different and if you are a little more extreme, then Mauritania could be a place for you. And also just keep in mind, it's really conservative, really Islamic. Women don't like to be filmed at all, and they're pretty hostile when it comes to cameras. And it's probably one of the top 10 most difficult places I've ever had to actually shoot stories because they're not open to anything with cameras. Just keep that in mind if you go to Mauritania. All right, before we get to number 20, I'm gonna travel across East Africa to the Horn of Africa, to one of the craziest countries on the continent, and I'll be reporting from you guys from there. Catch you soon. Country number 20 is Somalia. Right now I'm walking on Lido Beach in Mogadishu. It's actually one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And even though this city is the most dangerous in the world, I still have a soft spot for it.
Hey guys, welcome to Somalia.
Somalia is awesome. You have Somaliland in the top, in the northern part, which is an unrecognized part of the country. They have their own government, their own laws, their own flag, their own money. And it's safe there. You have a town called Hargeisa. You go to the beach in Berbera. It's untouched beauty. This place is amazing, man. There's also an ancient rock formation called Las Gel, which is one of the most beautiful ancient rock formations in the world. There's pictures everywhere, rock art. There's a giraffe, which means they must have had giraffe back here. Yes. And then of course Mogadishu, which is super intense, but this really gets my adrenaline going. And this is really the most dangerous beach in the world that I'm walking on, which is why I keep looking over my shoulder. Are we good? Okay. I'm with my tour guide, Ajis. He's keeping me safe. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We're walking around, we're having a great time. This is my third time in Somalia. I went to Somaliland, then I went to Mogadishu, and then I'm back in Mogadishu. Can't get enough of this place. People are very friendly, they're curious, they ask questions.
What are you trying to know?
I'm just trying to hang out and have a good time. You have the fish market here, the lighthouse, and of course the beach. We are located on the Horn of Africa. It's a very strategic location for trade, for everything, you know? And that is Somalia in a nutshell. As I take a break from the chaos down below, we're gonna talk about country number 21, Libya.
Welcome to Libya.
I actually really like Libya. It was a former Italian colony, which is super interesting. So you'll find a lot of Italian architecture in the city of Tripoli. We just entered the old city, the Medina of Tripoli, and behind me is an old Roman arch that is dated back to 160 AD. It's all original. There is a lot of good food there, really good coffee. Cool little cobblestone streets, places to go out. But the coolest part about Libya by far is called Leptis Magna. It is the most preserved Roman ruins I've ever seen in the world.
Everything around Leptis is completely perfect, you understand? And the city is still more preserved than all the Roman sites around the world.
In the northern coast, it's just, you see this stunning beach in front of you, kind of like this. There's no tourists around, but it's like the best Roman ruins I've seen anywhere in the world. And it's like a whole city within a city. These are the blocks that they used to build Leptis, and they're just left right here on the sea. And building. It's not a toilet.
It's toilet. Yes.
So it's been just an incredible day here in Leptis Magna. Don't really know what else to say. I mean, Libya has not disappointed at all so far. And I had a tour guide there and he took me all around and explained all different things. I remember he made a joke about the phallus in the wall. But no, Libya's a special place. It's obviously had a really bad rep over the years with Gaddafi and with civil war. And you know, to be honest, I fell asleep to the sound of bombs in my hotel room, literally in Tripoli. 1 in the morning in Tripoli, Libya, and I can't sleep because there's freaking gunfire and bombs out the window. Listen to this. It was intense when I was there. I was there during Civil War. But you know, I always try to find the good in every place I go, and Libya is fantastic. I met this lady who was super positive, super happy. I did a story on her.
Hi, I'm Hadia Ghana. I'm a Libyan artist creating a cultural space and trying to live as happily as possible in Libya.
She just breeds positivity, and as do many of the people there. The markets were cool in Libya, and I want to go back to southern Libya to meet the Tuareg people who dress in all blue and really try to experience Saharan life in southern Libya. Cool country. Country number 22 is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I have been twice. I really enjoyed my time there. The first time I went to Virunga National Park, I saw the mountain gorillas.
Right behind me you can see the mountain gorillas, which we trekked 2 hours to find here in the Congo, and it's amazing.
There's a town called Goma and Bukavu in eastern Congo, and they're both crazy. There's a lot of UN presidents, there's just a lot of commotion. I took my wife Deanna on my second trip to the Congo. We went to the markets in Bukavu. Watch out! She's never been more verbally harassed in her life, but you know what?
Oh my God.
We enjoyed it. They kept calling her ni hao Chinese, even though she's Filipina. One of the most amazing things to do in the DRC is Mount Nyiragongo. It's the highest lava lake in the world. So you climb up there, you sleep overnight on the summit of the volcano, and you can see the incredible lava. My tour guide Obed took me there, and it was one of the best memories of my entire life.
As you can see, it is getting dark outside, and the lava just illuminates the sky behind me.
Kinshasa is the big, busy capital city, which I have not visited, and I hope to go soon. There's a lot more stories I want to tell in the Congo. The country has the most natural resources of any country in the world. Yes, it's one of the most corrupt places in the world, which is why you'll find a lot of poverty, but massive country in the heart of Africa. There's so much to do. Lake Kivu is another place. It's on the border of Rwanda and Burundi. Beautiful nature, beautiful people. I can't say more great things about the Congo. I will definitely be back in that country.
It's awesome!
Country number 23 is Madagascar. The fourth biggest island in the world and one of the poorest places in the world, but also one of the most enriching. The coolest thing about Madagascar is that the people look Asian, and that's because a couple hundred years ago, there was a huge influx of Indonesians coming, I think working as laborers. Whatever the reason is, it's cool because the culture is mixed. They have like Indonesian features, which is awesome. I went to Antananarivo, the capital city. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to the Avenue of the Baobabs. It's probably like top 5 things on my bucket list right now is a street. It's a place in Madagascar where it's all baobab trees, one after another. And I've seen the pictures and I gotta go. They have really unique monkeys and wildlife in Madagascar.
I'm getting kissed by a lemur.
Really nice people. I will say the roads are probably the worst in the world I've ever been. So if you are planning to spend a few days there, if you get car sick, just keep that in mind. Good street food. A lot of culture. I just met 2 friends through Instagram that took me around Antananarivo, and we had a blast.
Taking the local bus in Madagascar.
Madagascar is a really cool place. Of course, you got the movie Madagascar, which put it on international scale. Surprise! It's a really beautiful island, and I'll definitely be back to go to Nosy Be and Avenue of the Baobabs. Country number 24 is Swaziland, or as I call it now, Eswatini. It has since changed names since I went to Swaziland. It's another enclave in South Africa.
Welcome to Swaziland!
Beautiful nature, beautiful people. I went on a safari there. I saw a bunch of big game, which was awesome. I remember waking up with warthogs and deer outside of my cabin.
And I just checked into my hotel, which is on this massive wildlife reserve, and there's just animals running around everywhere. It's insane.
Actually, I remember the name. It was called Mliwani Wildlife Sanctuary. That's where I stayed. Really cool place. Everyone speaks English, which is nice. Kind of like a peace haven. You go there and you just relax. It's more of like take a step back of life, hang out. There are really nice waterfalls called Matenga Falls. Everyone I found in Swaziland was super friendly. I went to this cultural village where they had the most amazing voices ever. They're great singers. And I put on the cultural outfit there and met some people, beautiful souls. Swaziland is a place that's near and dear to my heart. I still have the patch that I got there, the maroon and yellow patch. And if you do find yourself in South Africa, don't sleep on Swaziland or Eswatini. It's also the only kingdom in all of Africa. Fun fact. Country number 25 is the Seychelles. I'm gonna hold the mic here because it's so windy here. I put it in the middle of the list because yes, the beaches are amazing. It is a great place to go escape and hang out. There's not that much culture there. I didn't find it to be enriching culturally, and usually when I travel, I look for culture. But I mean, there are beaches everywhere in Africa, like right here. I mean, Lido Beach is absolutely fantastic. I happened to go to Seychelles only for 2 nights. I was there on like a holiday, so things were closed, so I didn't really get to see or do much. But I'll be honest, the beaches are nice. There's a reason why there's a bunch of 5-star resorts and rich people that go there for getaways. There's a non-stop flight from Dubai on Emirates. You can take it there, also from Doha. And if you're looking for like honeymoon type place, if you're looking for like total beach relaxation, you know, sipping coconuts and getting a massage on the beach, then look no further than the Seychelles. Country number 26, Mozambique. I've just made it to the largest mosque in Somalia while I'm going to be telling you guys about Mozambique, which is a beautiful country in southeastern Africa. It is a Portuguese-speaking country.
Bom dia, Moçambique.
And when I say Portuguese, it's like real Portuguese, like strong accents, like that's how they speak. And they don't incorporate much native language. It's mostly just Portuguese. Whereas other African countries, they have kind of a mix. Like in Nigeria, really not English when you leave the cities. It's mostly like Hausa or Yoruba or other local dialects, or Pidgin. But Mozambique is interesting because the capital, Maputo, is just over the border from South Africa. When you're driving in South Africa, you can cross over from Lesotho to Swaziland if you're trying to visit all the countries there. And then you end up in Maputo. One thing I remember about Maputo is it's hectic, it's busy, it's chaotic. There's a really nice fish market there with some of the best tasting fish I've ever had in my life. I'm trying to keep my voice down a little bit because I just want to respect the people that are praying inside the mosque. You can actually see whale sharks in Mozambique at a place called Tofo Beach, which I highly recommend. There's only a few places in the world where you can see whale sharks. Wandering around Maputo, there's beautiful architecture brought from the Portuguese. There's markets, there's beaches. Fortunately, I haven't been to northern Mozambique, which I've heard has the best beaches around, so I gotta get up there to check it out. But Mozambique is a nice little country. It's pretty safe. Yeah, Mozambique, check it out. There's like a bunch of security guards that keep passing me and telling me to turn off my camera. So I'm just kind of playing it chill right now. Country 27 is Tunisia. We're gonna have the best day we can possibly have. The capital of Tunis is a beautiful place. You have the Medina, which is right in the old town. It's this old fortress with like brick buildings and charming little cafes. It's really like a maze when you walk around the Medina of Tunis. Wow, everything's white. You give me an awesome tour so far. Nearby, you also have Carthage, which are these archaeological ruins from hundreds, probably actually thousands of years ago. It's all these Roman ruins. It's really cool. The northern coast of Africa has beautiful Roman ruins, which is definitely something you have to see. And keep in mind, Tunisia is not far away from Italy. Like, it's in the Mediterranean. It's just a couple hours flight away from France or Italy. So next time you go to Europe, try to think about going to North Africa because the culture is so amazing, so beautiful. It's very safe in Tunisia. It's really a beautiful sight to see in North Africa. It's one of my favorite places. I've been to Tunisia 4 times. I want to get down to the southern part to a place called Sfax. It's actually where they filmed a bunch of big movies, which you've probably seen on TV, including none other than Star Wars. A lot of people speak English and French and Arabic. What can you say about Tunisia, man?
It's very safe. You have to visit it. It's underrated.
It's a really cool mix of cultures, amazing food. All of this food is so incredible. One of the best meals I've had in a long time. There's also some islands that you can visit off the northern coast, which I have not been, but definitely is on my radar because Tunisia is probably one of the coolest places that you can visit on the continent. Country number 28 is Burundi. We're gonna start right off by mentioning the amazing drumming ceremony in a town called Gishora. They're like born and bred drummers. It's so cool. You go there, they put on this amazing drum show. Actually, I remember they put the drum on top of my head and I was walking through as they were performing and it was the heaviest thing. I almost freaking collapsed. Well, that was a fantastic experience. Such a passionate thing and it's so special to be here, witness that. Burundi is super safe. People are very friendly, very smiley. I remember my guide had the biggest, whitest teeth I've ever seen. The big city of Bujumbura it's whatever. It's just like any other big city in Africa. There's markets, there's a lot of commotion, but always get out to the villages where you'll find the most peaceful life. People aren't very hostile with cameras and they're just enjoying the days. And it's just like the pearl of Africa, the friendliest part of Africa. Burundi! There's also a place called Lake Tanganyika. I think I said it right. A lot of good fishing out there. You can take a boat around. A lot of wildlife, hippos. You are in Africa, you will see that stuff everywhere. A lot of people skip Burundi when they go to Central and East Africa, but really put it on your radar. It's a beautiful little country. Oh, also, I played golf in Burundi with the former president who unfortunately passed away. He was in the group right in front of me. And I remember my caddy was a really great golfer. He kicked my ass that day. Damn, son.
My name is Pascal. Played for the national team.
You played for the national team? Yeah. Really? What's your handicap?
6.
Good stuff in Burundi. Country number 29 is Angola, another Portuguese-speaking country, very, very Portuguese-speaking, in southwestern Africa. The capital is Luanda. It's actually the most expensive city in the world because of oil, because of corruption, because of X, Y, and Z. Real estate in Luanda is super expensive. If you want anything nice, like a hotel room, like a nice restaurant, it rivals London and Paris. It's absolutely insane. It's actually wild to think about it. There's a beautiful skyline. There's a lot of money and investment in Luanda. The penthouse in that building behind me was valued at $9 million, which was the most expensive apartment in all of Africa. But of course, with corruption, with bureaucracy, the streets are very poor as soon as you leave the capital city. There's a place in Angola that on the coast that I went with all these like abandoned ships. It's like a ship graveyard, which is really, really cool to see. Also, the Himba people live in southern Angola. I visited them from the Namibia side, but really, really cool culture out there. There's a national park called Kisama National Park, which I didn't visit, but I heard from my friends who went that it's awesome. There's a couple famous waterfalls, starts with a K, Kalandua, I think is what it's called. But yeah, I had a good time in Luanda. Had a buddy take me around. He spoke like 8 languages, like many African people do, and cool little town, bustling, a lot of markets. I remember just walking around on the underpass of the freeway and all these kids coming up to me saying hi. Nice little country, and I'm sure I'll be back in Angola someday. And before we go to number 30, I'm going to be traveling to the western side of Africa, and I'll see you guys there. Country number 30 is Nigeria. I'm here right now in Kano, a city in northern Nigeria, which is pretty bizarre. There's a lot going on up here. I actually hated my first time in Nigeria. I went to Lagos only for a week. Didn't really love it. I thought it was super busy. I thought the people were pretty pushy. But now, after being in Nigeria again, I just spent time in Lagos and now I'm here in Kano. I found a deeper appreciation. The people are really friendly. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of things to see. And yes, people might be a little more aggressive with the camera. It's really hit or miss. We have quite a lot of spectators outside. But the people that are friendly are super friendly. They come up to you on the street, they ask you questions, they want to get to know you. Other places I want to visit in the country are Abuja, which is the capital city. I heard that place is really nice. There's a place called Zuma Rock, which I heard is really famous. There's a national park called Yankari National Park. See some wildlife. It's crazy to think that Nigeria is the 6th most populous country in the world. Over 250 million people live here. And it's not that big. It's much smaller than India, let's say. A lot of hustle here. They just go around with fruits and vegetables and they just sell them like a little stores. Nigeria has a bad rep because of all of the internet scammers and everything, but you know what? People are just hustling and it's really a cool place. I mean, there's so much to look at. There's things everywhere. Hello, salam alaikum. My favorite experience in Nigeria was going through Makoko, which is the biggest floating slum in the world. Met a lot of really cool people down there and really crazy to see the life. That is Nigeria in a nutshell. Country number 31 is Benin, just over the border from Nigeria on the western side. Benin is well known as the birthplace of voodoo. There's a town called Ouida, which I went to, which is like their Mecca.
Python is protector because in the past time the Python saved the life of the king and then they decide to worship it as God.
Voodoo is a religion. They believe in like spirituality. They believe in sacrificing of animals. They do some interesting prayers.
Voodoo never do the bad things. Voodoo protects.
And they just have a very interesting culture and tradition. And that's actually what was brought to Haiti and brought to New Orleans. It came from the transatlantic slave trade. The people brought it from West Africa. All right, I'm at the Python Temple in Ouida, Benin, and here we go. Okay, it's actually comfortable. It's cold. If you're very hot outside, you just come here and you relax.
And relax.
Benin is not super exciting. The capital is Porto Novo. They speak French there.
Ça va? Ça va.
I only really stayed on the coastal area, so unfortunately I wasn't able to go up north where there's other cool things happening in the country, but I don't know if I'll ever be back to Benin, but if I do, it's definitely going to be to make a voodoo story because I really think that that's a fascinating religion. Country number 32 is Ivory Coast.
Welcome to Ivory Coast. No.
It's actually one of the best countries in West Africa. The capital, I'm gonna butcher the name, it's like Yamoussoukro. It has one of the biggest churches in the world, which I did not visit last time, but I did spend some time in Abidjan, which was really cool. I mean, parts of it felt like I was in Europe with the cathedrals, with the streets. There was way more luxury things there, like nice shopping malls, great restaurants. I just thought Abidjan had a really cool vibe. I remember I met a rapper there. And he kind of took me in his wing and we went in the market with him where he works selling shoes, and then at nighttime he raps. And it was super cool to meet him and see what the underground hip hop culture looks like of Ivory Coast. Actually, I should say it's actually called Côte d'Ivoire, not Ivory Coast, but for all of the non-French speakers, Ivory Coast. Anyways, cool country. I definitely hope to be back in Ivory Coast sometime soon. Country number 33 is Lesotho. It's an enclave in South Africa. It's fully surrounded by South Africa on all sides.
Welcome to Lesotho.
Nice to meet you, man. Yeah. I thought Lesotho was actually really pleasant. There's the Sani Pass, S-A-N-I, which is a really high mountain road. People are really cultural up there. Their way of dressing, warm dressing because the elevation's so high. Everyone speaks English, they're really friendly. There's a lot of wildlife I saw up there. tasty food. The capital's Maseru. And the coolest thing I saw there was these people living in the side of these caves in these little homes. They're like little hobbit homes. And I did a story on them back 6 years ago. How long have you been living here?
She says she's been living here from 1954.
1954.
Yes.
I would love to revisit some of these countries and see what they're like now, and Lesotho is definitely one of them. Being here in Nigeria right now, Lesotho is a whole world away from here. Number 34 is Mali.
Welcome to Mali!
Unfortunately, I only went to Bamako, the capital. Bamako was actually a cool place. I visited an orphanage. I did a story there in the orphanage. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a soldier. I want to be a basketball player.
But Timbuktu is a place I really want to go, all the way up in the north. Right now is off limits because of instability in the region. Actually, the only way to get there is to take a boat, like a 2-day boat from Bamako up the river, but I don't think I'm ready for that quite yet. Maybe someday. But Mali's a big country. There's a lot to see there, and definitely going to go back sometime. Country 35 is Burkina Faso. This country has the coolest capital name in the world. It's Ouagadougou. I went to Ouagadougou for several days. I was actually there with a Dutch Burkina Faso driver, half Dutch, half Burkina Faso. He drove me and my friend all around West Africa, and we stopped in Burkina Faso. So on the way to the crocodiles, we stumbled upon this festival in the middle of a village. Everybody's dancing and celebrating, and it's a pretty cool atmosphere to see. We are now roaming through the market, which is really busy and bustling. There's lots of people, lots of things to buy, colors everywhere. It's a nice place. I really like it here, actually. I thought it was fine, but unfortunately the hotel we stayed in was attacked in a terrorist attack, very sadly. There's been a lot of political tension and coups in Burkina Faso. There's another city called Bobo, which I want to visit someday, but I can't tell you when is the next time I'll be back in Burkina Faso. But ironically, it's just west of where I am right now. Country number 36 is Togo, also in West Africa. Togo is cool because there's this market in the capital of Lomé. It's like a voodoo market, but it's really cruel for animals. They have all of these skulls and bones of, I remember seeing a horse penis, literally like the penis shaft was there.
That is one of our aphrodisiac products for good erection.
So you drink horse penis?
Yes.
All the faces of dogs, of goats, of pigs, they worship them. They think that it, I don't know, brings you good fortune. And they have drinks and potions that they make from the animals that make you stronger, that make you feel good. And they believe in all these things. And that was my highlight of Togo. I remember walking on the beach in Togo. It's a really big open coastline, a lot of people out and about. It's beautiful out here. Street food was really good. You know, in some of these West African countries, I just hopped by for a couple days because I was on a road trip. So I didn't really get to fully experience all that Togo has to offer, but from my memory, it was pretty cool. Number 37 is Liberia, not to be confused with the US because they have a very similar flag. And actually there's statues of American presidents in Liberia. There's a big US embassy and there's a really strong connection to the US, which I thought was really nice. They love America there.
In Liberia, whenever they hear about the United States, they think that it's paradise, it's second heaven.
I think to go there. I won't go there. Trust me.
The capital, Monrovia, was one of the poorest places I've ever been, but they have one of the coolest buildings I've ever climbed. There's an abandoned hotel. It was a luxury hotel in the 80s, and it's just left as is with the pool and everything there. And all the rooms are gutted. You can climb up to the top and get insane views of the whole city. I made a friend there. His name is Wendell. I'm still in touch with him. And Liberia is actually a place that I have a soft spot in my heart because of their love for the US and because I felt so welcome there, even though it's pretty rough to travel there. Country number 38 is Niger. Not far from here. I think if you drive 1 hour from Kano, you're in Niger. The capital of Niamey is pretty dusty, pretty stormy. I really want to go to Agadez. It's in the middle of the desert and they have this old ancient rock art and they're like really old cities, kind of like where I am now in Kano. Niger has the Wadabi Tribal Festival, which is a tribe where the men dress up as women and they put on lipstick and they put outfits and they do it to try to impress girls. It's very interesting. It became really touristy over the last few years, but it's a festival I really want to visit in Niger. As I'm talking, I'm just getting a bunch of dirt in my mouth. It's absolutely insane, like crazy. Wish I could explain more in better words how chaotic it is here, but man, I freaking love the chaos. It's what I live for. It's why I do what I do. I'm just curious about places that make you think, places that challenge you. Oh look, there's ice. 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 Ice, ice, baby. Good. Nice to meet you, man. Country number 39, South Sudan. Welcome to South Sudan! I actually been to South Sudan twice, even though I think it's one of the craziest places in the world. Juba is a very hostile city. It's basically just UN trucks, a crazy, aggressive culture people that want to fight you on the street, people that if they take out your phone or your camera, they really don't like it there more than any other place I've been in the world. But it's home to the Dinka tribe, the tallest people in the world. I came to South Sudan and I feel like I just entered Manhattan because I'm surrounded by skyscrapers. Luol Deng, Manute Bol, these are NBA players that actually came from South Sudan, which is really cool. I actually went to a playoff game in the South Sudanese basketball league there, in the only really court/stadium in the country. And I remember I got recognized there by a follower, which was even cooler. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. But the reason I went back to South Sudan the second time is because of the Mandari tribe. They're cow people, they look after their cows, they love their cows, and it's really visual. I slept there overnight, you wake up in the morning with the fog, with the mist, and you're in the nature.
So interesting how it's so quiet out here, but everybody's just doing their part. Like, they're cleaning, they're sweeping, they're, you know, getting the cow manure and throwing it over.
The kids bathe in the cow urine. That's how they take showers. Fun fact, I actually did the urine shower as well, and then I got on a 30-hour flight back to Phoenix straight from that. So did the urine shower, went back to Juba, flew to Addis Ababa, then flew to London, then London to Dulles, Washington, and then Washington to Phoenix, all with pea hair. So whoever sat next to me on that flight, I'm sorry. Country number 40 is Sao Tome and Principe. It's actually a Portuguese-speaking island off the coast of West Africa. There's a place called Banana Beach, which is really beautiful. This should have been really obvious because we're at the equator, but it's really freaking hot outside. But that was definitely an amazing experience. That was the best part about Sao Tome. It's a beach destination getaway place. I went to the actual equator, which was really cool. I've only been to the equator in maybe 6 or 7 countries, but the one in Sao Tome was awesome. They had like a whole equator map painted on the ground. Now I'm in the northern hemisphere. Now I'm in the southern hemisphere. The hike to get up there in the mountains was cool. I actually like Sao Tome. It's just at the end of this list because it just found it to be kind of boring. It's just an island. And as you guys know me by now, I'm not the biggest beach person in the world. But yeah, was it interesting? Yes. Would I go back? Yes. Country number 41 is Cape Verde, another Portuguese-speaking archipelago off the coast of West Africa.
Welcome to Cabo Verde.
I went to Boa Vista, which is one place in Cape Verde. There's actually many places that you can go, but the one I was on was cool. I did a $10 budget challenge, which I actually got a lot more than I thought I would get.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, bro. Because usually island nations are really expensive, but it was pretty affordable there. Really nice people. I actually loved my time in Cape Verde. I would definitely go back. Nice beaches, more of a chill, laid-back life, drink beer, hang out. I don't have much else to say about Cape Verde other than I have really great memories there, and I do want to go back to Praia. It's another island, and then take a boat. There's like dozens and dozens of islands in Cape Verde, so I want to go back and fully experience it. That's probably my top 10 on the list to go back to. Country number 42 is the Republic of Congo, also known as Congo Brazza, because Brazzaville is the capital city, and the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, is a totally different country, which is a neighboring country. Congo Brazza is cool because they have the sappers.
So I'm just chilling at a restaurant in downtown Brazzaville with a bunch of sappers, and they're just slugging beer after beer like it's nobody's business. It's hilarious. These guys can drink like crazy.
We're these local guys who dress to impress. They wear really nice suits, really nice shoes, look like they're going into a wedding, but they're obviously come from poverty. They're poor. They do it to show off to their friends, and they also do it to attract tourists like myself to make some money, which I got scammed. I actually had a really bad scam that happened to me in Republic of Congo. Another traveler friend connected me with one guy who picked me up at the airport, and we agreed on a price that he would pay me before the trip. Well, it turns out we did the trip, and then he demanded like 3 or 4x the price that I was gonna pay him, and I just told him no, and I refused to pay him because we had agreed on a price. Sure enough, he goes to my hotel, he knocks on the door of my freaking hotel room. He bangs on the door. The security guy had to literally kick him out. And then I had to move hotels because I was so scared this guy was gonna come kill me, literally. He was very aggressive. I recorded him in voice notes and phone footage for proof.
No.
Of course, in a place like Congo Brazza, there's not much you can do except run away. That was one of the scariest probably travel moments in Africa. You have a really cool bridge in Republic of Congo, and it just separates from Kinshasa, which is the big bustling city of Democratic Republic of Congo. As I stand here and make this video, it's funny, like, literally everyone behind me just staring at me like, what is this dude doing here filming? Love it. Congo Brazza, interesting place. Am I in a rush to get back? Probably not. Country number 43 is Morocco. A lot of you guys are gonna be probably upset that I put this so low on my list. For the Moroccan friends I have, they're really nice. I love them. I think they're amazing people. But when you're in Morocco, they're quite aggressive. They're quite snappy. And especially to my female friends who I was traveling with, they're aggressive. They catcall them. I know it makes them feel uncomfortable. Marrakesh is okay. It's a big tourist trap, but it's a cool city. I actually like the night markets and stuff in Marrakesh. Casablanca's meh. It has one of the biggest mosques in the world. I went to a place called El Jadida on the coast, and Chefchaouen, the blue city, which is an Instagrammy city. Listen, I think it's okay. I think it's fine, but I don't think Morocco is like the end-all be-all for Africa, which a lot of people do think, and I challenge your thoughts. If you disagree with me, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm dying to hear from you guys. I would love to hear why you disagree with my thoughts, and that's why this video is based on my own personal opinions. To wrap up Morocco, I would like to go to Fez and the Atlas Mountains, so there is a time I would go back, it's just not now. Country number 44 is Djibouti. Djibouti, the country people only recognize by name because it's synonymous with butt. Djibouti, the best name and perhaps the most important country in Africa because of its strategic location right on the water, right next to Yemen and Saudi and the Gulf. There's a lot of military bases there. The US, China, I think Italy, France, Russia, they all have bases there because they know the strategic location and they want to have people on the ground just in case any war erupts in the Middle East and just to have a presence in the Horn of Africa. So I'm filming part of this video on my phone because I've already been stopped twice by the police for using my camera. Djibouti's cool because it has Lake Assal, which is one of the largest salt lakes in the world. It's also the lowest elevation place in the world, behind the Dead Sea, I think. It's like super, super low, way below sea level, but it's a dry lake. There's a whole production up there. They make things with the salt. It's pretty interesting. I think it's cool because the people, they speak French, they speak Somali, they speak English. They speak a local language. They have all kinds of stuff in Djibouti. It's really expensive because of the military bases. It's not really the most enjoyable place to go just because it's, yeah, you go to a restaurant and you go to a cafe, you get a coffee and it's like $12. So you're like, what is going on? But anyways, my voice is like completely shot right now from shooting this on the studio, and we're gonna go to the next one. Country number 45 is Comoros. Welcome to Comoros! It is an island chain off the southeastern coast of Africa, off Mozambique. Capital is Moroni, that's where I spent my time. There's a big mosque there. Is this the one that you pray in?
Yeah, that's one special for Fridays, but we may also pray for the other 5 prayers.
It's a super Islamic country, which I didn't realize until I got there. I was with 2 really amazing people, a girl and a guy who showed me around.
Welcome to the Salt Lake!
Nice beaches. I remember getting some drone shots there of the palm trees and the nature. The food is a big fusion of like Arabic food, French food, East African food. So we are gonna try some pilau. Good. I thought that was really cool. I don't have many other things to say about Comoros other than it was pleasant, kind of boring because it's an island, but maybe I'll go back someday. Country number 46 is Equatorial Guinea. This country is split in between 2. There's a place on the mainland called Bata, and then there's an island called Bioko Island where the capital of Malabo is, which I really actually enjoyed. So she's putting this traditional red mud on my face. See? They say that I look pretty. Americans don't need a visa for Equatorial Guinea because of some oil deals that they have, but many other countries do, and that's why I was grateful to go when I did. I've never seen a larger difference between rich and poor in my life than Equatorial Guinea. Let me tell you a quick story. So the president, one of the richest men in the world, there was an African conference there for all 54 countries in Africa. So he built on one side of the road a mansion for each one, like $10, $20 million mansion each, massive houses. They were only used once for the conference. On the other side of the road, this side, is the poorest community I've ever seen. Slums. Okay, I'm walking through some of the poor areas of Malabo, and you can see the living conditions for these people. It is extremely sad. Like, absolutely terrible to see the difference between the rich and the poor. And like all the money that they used to build those mansions, you just imagine if they put it into the people, into the life, into the streets, it'd be a much more well-off place. The equator runs through it, it's a hot climate. It's so expensive there because it's an oil-rich country that the hotels are all super expensive. They can charge whatever they want. Like $400 a night for a basic room. I ended up getting on Equatorial Guinea TV in Spanish because Spanish is the main language. Fun fact, it's the only Spanish-speaking country in Africa.
140 países o más de 140. ¿Cuántos son exactamente los países que has visitado?
148.
148.
I did the whole interview in Spanish while I had terrible food poisoning and these kids are fighting in front of me. Yeah, that's my Equatorial Guinea story. Country number 47 is Guinea, one of my least favorite countries in the world. I was caught in a coup in the capital of Conakry. I'm on high edge right now, and basically in French, the policeman told Alvaro
that we couldn't take pictures, that we need to ask for permission, and that there's going to be a demonstration or riots. They're planned, so they're going to happen anytime soon, the next hour.
We do not feel safe. Really don't recommend it there. I enjoyed nothing about Guinea. There was trash everywhere. People were very hostile. We're here in Guinea. We pulled over to buy some fruit at a local market with very friendly people, and we just got their permission. We took photos of them. It was great. They were happy. We were happy. All of a sudden, this angry policeman drives up on a motorbike and he starts going crazy, flipping out. I remember just leaving my hotel and there was policemen like with shields protecting themselves, protecting the streets, protecting people from rioting in. And yeah, I got nothing else to say about Guinea other than the fact that I do not plan to go back there. Country number 48, Guinea-Bissau. The neighboring country of Guinea Yes, there's 3 countries with the word Guinea in Africa. This is a Portuguese-speaking one. Regrettably, I didn't go to the islands. Apparently, you can take a boat out and find some really cool islands in Guinea-Bissau, which I didn't do. I just stayed in the capital city. Once again, I enjoyed it a little bit more than Guinea, the country, but it's very hard to enjoy a place where they don't welcome foreigners, where it's dangerous to walk around, and there's really nothing to do or see. And that's the reason why Guinea-Bissau ranks so low on my list of favorite countries in Africa. Country number 49 is Cameroon. Partially English-speaking, partially French-speaking.
This fabric is a typical Cameroonian fabric from the western region.
Cameroon's an interesting place. I was there during a civil war, so that's part of the reason why I didn't have a great time, because there was literally fighting happening around me. Oh, those are all bullets. The city of Douala, which is where I was mostly, is a city that I didn't love. The markets were crazy. People were grabbing me everywhere. It was vibrant, it was colorful, it was cool. But in general, like Central African region is a little difficult. It's a little challenging to travel. I heard the capital city of Yaoundé is a little bit better. So maybe next time I go to Cameroon, I will check it out. Country number 50 is Central African Republic. The capital city of Bangui is a wild place. A lot of UN presence, a lot of chaos. I remember taking the river, which was on the border of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which was super interesting. I was actually on a log boat. We're on the borderline between DR Congo and Central African Republic. And this boat is so cool. It's literally a log. Check it out. Literally like a log. I wasn't able to cross into the DRC, but the coolest part about Central African Republic was visiting the pygmies. First time visiting the pygmies, 8-hour car ride, then we trekked 4 hours into the middle of the bush, spent overnight with them. It was crazy. They were smoking weed, they were enjoying, they were laughing, they were singing and dancing. They were really festive and they had a great time and they're very energetic. And that's why I love the pygmy tribe. This was my first experience before the DRC one, and that will always be cemented in my brain. Life update, it's 5:31 a.m. It's just getting bright outside. And the pygmies have been up all night drinking, smoking, and dancing around the fire. What is happening? But I can't make this stuff up. Country number 51 is Gabon. Tucked somewhere between Central and West Africa. This is actually a pretty cool place. The capital is Libreville. For some reason, there's a lot more to do and see there. I thought it was a really beautiful coastline, a nice boardwalk, cool little upscale places to go out. My favorite part about Libreville was meeting this chef.
And I cook the best down food in Africa.
And she welcomed us in and she cooked us all kinds of food. She was hilarious.
Oh, I'm suffering. Oh, la la. Is it my good?
Good?
I have to put a little bit of salt inside.
Unfortunately, I didn't leave the capital city. Regrettably, in several African countries, I didn't leave the capital city because of A, safety, B, time, and C, didn't really know what else to do. But Gabon did give me a really good feeling when I was there, and that's definitely a place that I'm looking forward to going back to in the future. This stuff in my hand is called Eboga. It's a psychedelic drug that's taking the world by storm.
If you eat this one, you're gonna be really screwed.
Gabon's an interesting place. I didn't find a whole lot to do there, but if I did have the chance to go back in the future, I probably would take it. Country number 52 is the Gambia. All right, now we're getting down to my 3 least favorite countries in Africa. And yeah, I don't have the greatest things to say about the Gambia. It's a tiny enclave tucked in between Senegal. So basically the bottom half of Senegal, you go around, and the top half of Senegal, and Gambia is this little sliver of land. You can actually walk across it from north to south. It's only maybe 20 miles long. And there's a little coast in Gambia too. The capital city of Banjul is garbage, literally garbage. Everywhere I walked there was garbage. I didn't find the people to be very friendly, even though they did speak English. I don't know, I just got like chirped at a lot more in Gambia than other places. I was with a local friend that wasn't very helpful, and I was also disturbed about Gambia that there was a lot of European tourists that were elderly female, like 50 plus, and they were all walking around with young, like 18 to 25-year-old Gambian men. I just found that very odd. Would I give it a second chance? Yes. I went to a monkey sanctuary. I thought it was kind of cool, but I don't know. Just some places rub you the wrong way, and Gambia was one of them. Country number 53 is Sierra Leone. So right now we're crossing the border from Liberia to Sierra Leone over the river, and welcome to Sierra Leone. Oh, where do we begin? I had a really bad scam happen to me in this country, and that just left a really bad taste in my mouth. So basically I was driving overland from Liberia into Sierra Leone, and what happened was we got to the immigration, and the guy looks at me and he goes, come with me, and takes us in the back room and goes, show me your shot proof. And you have to have a yellow fever shot to cross many borders in sub-Saharan Africa, which we had, and that's the only shot we needed. Then he goes, no, look at the wall. And he printed out all these papers, which are fake, that said, you need to have this shot, you need to have this shot, you need to have a cholera shot. Cholera is water bacteria. He said we need to get a shot. We didn't have one, and so he demanded $300 each on the spot. Unbelievable. We just got really scammed at the border of Liberia entering into Sierra Leone by the Sierra Leone officials. Not a good welcoming into Sierra Leone. So we sat there with him for a while and he started getting really aggressive and took out a shot with a syringe. And I'll never forget, he flicked the tip and a little bit of the juice fell off of the end of the syringe. I can never get that image out of my head. And he was threatening to give us the shot or else we need to pay 300 bucks. My friend got really heated. I was just kind of calm. I was like, this is terrible. We ended up paying $150 each, so it was definitely a bribe. I was filming secretly and I made a video about these guys. I posted it that day because that was when I was doing daily videos. The next morning I get an email from the Sierra Leone government that they are going down to arrest those people at the border and they want to stop corruption. Hi, my name is Drew Binsky. I was just emailing and you're her boss about the video?
You are the one in the video?
Yes.
We were all really shocked at the ordeal you went through. So we took action on it immediately and we arrested the people involved.
So I'm happy those guys got arrested. When things like this happen, it scares people away from visiting the country. And if you want people to discover your beautiful land, don't do things like this. So then I spent 2 days in Sierra Leone. I just was in a really bad mood and I honestly didn't really love the experience. But I will say, this is a country I will go back if situations like this doesn't happen to me again and if people are nice and if I find more things to do and I'm happier, I think it'd be a better place. Country number 54, Chad. My least favorite country on the continent of Africa. If you see my video in Chad, then you know exactly why. What's up, Chad? N'Djamena is the capital, which is actually not that far east of where I am right now. I showed up with a local friend, he's a friend of a friend. Was a decently nice guy, but the city is all dirt roads. It's so dusty, you can't even breathe. A little bit like here. People are very hostile, they don't like cameras, they don't like foreigners. I really just didn't get good vibes at all from Chad. Long story short, my friend and I needed to get from point A to point B. So he hopped on a motorcycle taxi, which is common there, and I hopped on one behind him. Turns out the bike I was on was a stolen bike by the driver, and the police was after him, chasing him. So I was caught literally in a full speed police chase through the streets of Chad. My phone wasn't working because the signal wasn't working. I lost my friend. We're speeding through the streets, dust in my face. I'm screaming to my driver, slow down, stop, this is ridiculous, what are you doing? We almost got in like 3 different car crashes. Finally, he stops. The police come out. There's a massive brawl in front of me. Everyone's fighting, literally fist fights, punching. I duck out, I go into a car. I finally relax. I don't know where my friend is. I don't know where my hotel is. I even forgot the name of my hotel. After I was calm, I took out my camera and I was taking pictures and I took one of a little kid without the permission of the parents. Lesson learned, I've never done that again. And basically that caused another brawl and some dude took out a knife, threatened to stab me. This is like all in the same morning. My friend came and found me after he saw the commotion and he was a big dude. He pushed everyone away. It's not just that happened, it's just the people were very rude and disrespectful and I just didn't get any good feeling from the country of Chad. I hated it so much that I left early. I left after a day and a half. I was supposed to spend 3 nights there. Would I go back to Chad? Yes. There are some tribes in the south, there's some beautiful rock formations in the north, there's some tribal festivals I want to visit, and maybe I will, but I am not in a hurry to get back there. So yeah, that is my recap of Africa. Some countries I love, some countries I didn't like so much, but that's just how life goes. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please comment below if you need any tips for Africa. If you're traveling anywhere and you need some advice, I'm more than happy to share. This video was based entirely on my own personal opinions and nothing else, so please take it out with a grain of salt. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment, let me know where you're from, and I'll see you next week. Peace.